Hi, for this video what I want to do is show you how to solve a right triangle. In order to do that, you're going to have to remember the acronym SOHCAHTOA. And what this stands for is anytime you're trying to figure out which trig function you're going to use, you're going to use this acronym to help you. Sine always means the opposite side of the angle divided by the hypotenuse, which is always the side opposite of the right angle. Cosine always is adjacent over the hypotenuse, and tangent is always the opposite over the adjacent. Okay, so that's where these letters come from. The O represents opposite, H hypotenuse, and then A the adjacent sign. So if you remember these, then it's really easy to solve for the missing information. Whenever it says solve the right triangle, that means find any missing information. So one of the things that we are missing is angle B. And so when we go to find this angle, remember that all angles in the triangle add up to 180 degrees. Well, since this angle is a 90 degrees, that means that only 90 degrees is left. So these two angles are complementary. So I can say that angle B is equal to 90 degrees minus 40.2 degrees. So if I simplify that, I end up with 49.8 degrees. So that was our first missing information. So we were missing angle B. We are also missing side B and side C. Now there's a lot of different ways that you could solve this right triangle. A lot of it is just a matter of preference and what is the easiest for you to see. What I am going to do is I'm going to use the given angle and the given side to be able to solve for both side B and C. Like I said, it's not the only way that you could do this, but that's my preferred method. So since I'm using angle A, I'm going to look and find my opposite, my adjacent, and my hypotenuse to help me out. So for angle A, the opposite side would be the side that is not touching it. So it's the one that's across from that angle. The adjacent side is the one that is next to it, but not across from the right angle. Okay, and then the hypotenuse is always going to be the side opposite of the right angle. That's the most important side. The hypotenuse is always the longest side, so it has to be opposite. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to solve for our two missing sides. And again, there is more than one way to do this, so it's just a matter of how do you want to do it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to find the hypotenuse. So to find the hypotenuse, I know the opposite and I know the hypotenuse, so that tells me I'm going to use sine. So I can say that the sine of angle A, which is 40.2 degrees, is equal to the opposite side, 24.3, divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to solve this equation for C. And I could cross multiply, but the shortcut is that anytime you're solving for a variable that's in the denominator and you do not have a denominator on the opposite side, these two expressions are just going to switch with each other. So I really have C equals 24.3 divided by sine 40.2. Now all you have to do is grab your calculator and plug it in. I'm just going to use a free online scientific calculator called Desmos, but you can use any scientific or graphing calculator to do this. The one thing that you want to make sure of is that you are in degree mode and not radian mode, so make sure you know how to set your calculator in degree mode. And then you would simply just plug it in. So we would take 24.3 and divide it by sine 40.2. And then make sure you close your parentheses afterwards, and we can see that this is our answer, 37.65. I'm just going to round to 2 decimal places. So this would be approximately 37.65, and don't forget your units, centimeters. Okay, so now we have one last thing that we need to find. We've now found C, so our last thing that we need to find is side B. So again, you have a lot of choices. I could use Pythagorean theorem because I did just find what the hypotenuse was. I could use angle B because we found that and do sine of this side over the hypotenuse. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to use the given angle and the given side to find it. But again, that's not the only method. There's more than one way of getting to the correct answer on this one. Okay, so for this one, since I'm looking at A again, I know the opposite side, and I'm going to find the adjacent side. So on this one, I'm going to use tangent. And I would say that tangent 40.2 is equal to the opposite over the side next to, which is B. Now all I have to do is, again, the same step that I did last time. B equals 24.3. And now I'm going to divide it by tangent 40.2. Since my calculator was already in degree mode, I know that I don't have to check for that again. So I would just hit enter on this one, and then we would type in 24.3 divided by tangent 40.2. And we can see that it's 28.76 centimeters approximately. So B is approximately 28.76 centimeters. And as I said before, that's not the only way. I could have done it using tangent of B. Tangent 49.8 equals B over 24.3. So if you don't like having the variable in the denominator, you can set it up to where you never end up with that. But there's always multiple ways to do the same thing, especially when you're solving for a right triangle. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If there are additional topics you need me to cover, please let me know that as well.